More good news at the southern border means that Donald Trump is fast losing his top argument against Kamala Harris. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Aronberg, state attorney for Palm Beach County, aka the Florida lawman, here on the MeidasTouch network. And yes, the caravans are coming. Well, that's at least the warning from top Republicans, because this is the time of year when you start getting the warnings of those menacing caravans coming up from South and Central America coming to our border. They generally occur around the time of an election against Democrats. It's used as a foil, used as an excuse to rally their base and to try to scare Americans into voting Republican. You'd think people would be onto them by now. I think they are, but Republicans are still trying because in the past they think it has worked. Well, check out Tom Cotton. Senator Cotton is pushing this right now in his post on Twitter, and yes, I will still call it Twitter. A caravan of migrants from across the world continues to head towards our southern border, and the Biden-Harris administration has not said one word about it. Americans can see right through their open borders agenda. That's from Republican Senator Tom Cotton. And yet he doesn't mention that it was Donald Trump who killed the very strong border bill sponsored by his own colleague, by Cotton's own colleague, Senator Lankford, a conservative from Oklahoma, who had a compromise bill, a bill that passed the Senate easily and died in the House because Donald Trump did not want it to happen before the election because he didn't want to give Joe Biden a win. He didn't care that it would increase the flow of migrants to the border. He just wanted to win. And now Kamala Harris is using that against Donald Trump. But first, let's get to the good news at the border, and then we'll explain why the border is starting to be flipped on its head as an issue, meaning that Kamala Harris is starting to use it on the offense against Donald Trump, not what the Republicans expected. But here's the good news at the border, according to the Washington Post. Illegal border crossings fell in July to lowest level in 4 years. Border agents tallied 56,408 illegal crossings in July, a 32% decline from June, and the fifth straight month that the figure has fallen, data shows. Illegal crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border dropped in July to the lowest levels in nearly 4 years, the latest indication that the Biden administration's sweeping restrictions on asylum are reshaping migration trends, according to federal enforcement data released Friday. U.S. border agents attribute the change to executive actions Biden announced this spring that effectively shut off access to the U.S. asylum system for migrants who enter illegally. The Mexican government has also tightened enforcement this year at the Biden administration's behest, arresting record numbers of migrants attempting to transit the country en route to the U.S. border. On the campaign trail, Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee, has assailed former president and Republican nominee Donald Trump's immigration record and criticized Republicans for walking away from a bipartisan bill this year that would have invested billions in immigration and border enforcement. Border apprehensions averaged more than 2 million per year during Biden's first 3 years in office. In December, U.S. agents tallied 249,740 crossings, an all-time high for a single month. But since then, monthly crossings have plunged 77%. CBP data shows. On Friday, the White House cheered the significant decline in illegal entries and said the latest numbers showed the administration's policies were working even without the GOP's help. White House spokesman Angelo Fernandez said Republican lawmakers are more interested in cynically playing politics than securing the border. So true. This is not what Donald Trump and his supporters wanted. They wanted a mass inflow of undocumented migrants coming across the border. They wanted chaos, but they're not getting it because after they killed Senator Lankford's bill, President Biden acted unilaterally with executive orders, and that had to surprise the Republicans who didn't think that President Biden would do it. And you can see the impact of his policies, which is slowly taking away the number one issue that Republicans were counting on to defeat the Democrats in November, immigration. And not only that, but Vice President Harris has turned this issue on its head by coming out with a really powerful ad taking the initiative on the issue of immigration and calling out Donald Trump for blocking the immigration bill. Again, not what the Republicans expected. Here's the ad.
On the border, the choice is simple. Kamala Harris supports increasing the number of Border Patrol agents. Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents. Kamala Harris supports investing in new technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Donald Trump blocked funding for technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Kamala Harris supports spending more money to stop human traffickers. Donald Trump blocked money to stop human traffickers. Kamala Harris prosecuted transnational gang members and got them sentenced to prison. Trump is trying to avoid being sentenced to prison. There's two choices in this election: the one who will fix our broken immigration system and the one who's trying to stop her.
So you have Vice President Harris playing on her strengths as a former prosecutor. I can appreciate that as a current prosecutor. And as someone who is not going to just play defense all the time. She is on offense, and it really does seem to be working. Look at the latest polls. Her surge continues, and I think after the Democratic National Convention, she'll have the traditional bounce that should put her solidly in the lead. Of course, never take anything for granted, but it looks good. That's why there's so much optimism and enthusiasm out there. We're feeling good about this. And then you have the debate on September 10th, which I cannot wait for. I mean, I didn't feel this way prior to the last debate. This one, I think, is going to hopefully solidify her lead through the election and grow upon it. But you don't have to just listen to and believe Democrats as far as what's going on the border. Just listen to Senator Lankford, conservative Republican from Oklahoma, who broke the code and was honest when he was asked as to whom is responsible for killing that border deal. Who's responsible for all this? Is it Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the Democrats? Nope. Look what Senator Lankford told Fox News.
But it's your colleagues in your party, sir, who torpedoed this, who didn't get the facts right on what you just outlined was in that measure. They killed it. Ironically, not Democrats.
Right. It was, and it was painful to be able to watch it. It got stirred up in all the presidential politics, and several of my colleagues started looking for ways. After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election, it's the single biggest issue during the election, don't resolve this, we'll resolve it next year. Quite a few of my colleagues backed up, looked for a reason to be able to shoot against it, and then walked away. I get that. That's a decision everybody makes in it. My issue is if we're pursuing everything, we very often end up with nothing. If we're pursuing someone coming later to fix it, later seems to never come. When we have a moment to fix things, we should fix as many things as we can then come back later and fix the rest.
That's on Donald Trump, Senator.
That, again, he's got an office that he's running for. He's got a campaign that he's running. I'm already in office. I've got a responsibility to be able to carry on this.
He gets points for his honesty. And the Republicans don't like it. They're not used to people calling them out because when you're a party of one, you get in trouble when you disparage the leader. But he's done playing along because Senator Lankford has just had enough of it. When he worked on this bill with Democrats, he passed this very strong bill. Remember, Lankford's a border hawk. He's not exactly pro-immigration, as you would call him. And yet he got this bill through, and then it withered on the vine in the House. Didn't even get a vote, even though it would have passed if it got a vote in the House. So, he's pissed. And he is not afraid to let the world know about it. So that's where we are right now, because you have the Republicans in disarray on immigration. You have the Democrats on the offense, that great ad, and now really positive numbers at the border where the whole issue of immigration is slipping away from the Republicans. And it is their top issue. It's the one they counted on to return them to the White House. But it looks like through some smart policies and some aggressive campaigning, and let's give Vice President Harris credit. I mean, she is running this campaign the right way. I mean, compared to Donald Trump, who's always off on tangents, talking about things that don't matter and things that just offend people. Look what he said recently about Mary Madison's award being even better than the one given to fallen soldiers and soldiers who risk their lives in combat and give up their life and limbs to combat. I mean, this is the kind of thing that just just reveals Donald Trump. But we still have a few months to go. And we'll be here at MeidasTouch to continue to follow it. So, Meidas Mighty, thank you for watching. I'm Dave Aronberg, a.k.a. the Florida Lawman, here on the MeidasTouch Network. If you like this video, please leave a comment below. I love reading your comments. And share with a friend. Also, check out our sister site, True Crime MTN, where we cover all the hot true crime cases across the country that don't get covered here on the MeidasTouch Network. And yours truly hosts most of those videos, so hope to see you over there, True Crime MTN, here on YouTube. And I'll see you next time.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.